Google is a big business in Europe, but it's found itself in the news for many of the wrong reasons. Regulators, customers, and businesses have been hitting out at how it operates. Now, the technology company, whose main London headquarters are in the building behind me, is changing its approach to the continent. After years of increasing scrutiny, it's announced a management shakeup to enable it to respond more quickly and more effectively to local issues.
Previously, it had two European divisions, one based in the north and west of the continent and one based in the south and the east. And they're bringing these two things together, trying to streamline decision making, trying to make quicker decisions. I think in some ways you can see it as a tacit admission of failure, or at least an admission that the way Google had operated in Europe or led its operations in Europe didn't really meet the reality on the ground.
I think the problem with Google today is it's too strong.
Critics like Andrew Keane, who spoke to the Financial Times earlier this month, say Google is too powerful and that consumers have suffered.
The reality of Google in Europe, for example, is it controls 90% of the market, even larger proportion of the market than it does in America. And of course, Google is not only strong in search, it's increasingly dominant as a digital platform with Android, in mapping. YouTube, which Google owns, is, I wouldn't say it's a monopolist, but it dominates the video space. So joining all these dots, you have an increasingly powerful and I think dangerous company.
But Google isn't the only US tech business that has met resistance, nor is it the only one that will be looking to Europe for growth. Strategy consultant and entrepreneur Judith Clegg advises big tech groups, and she says that other companies need to be mindful of the same challenges that have hit Google.
Well, at first glance, Europe seems similar to the US, a large market that can be treated in the same way, but that just isn't the case in Europe. Obviously, very different countries, cultures, and then there's the issue of language. So much more localization for the size of market is required. I think also one of the other central issues is really around dominance in local markets. So you have a company like Google could be seen to be very dominant, and in small country, there's probably smaller countries, there's probably a need to have a closer look from an antitrust point of view. And then from a consumer and a reasonable person on the street point of view, I think there's this issue of taxation, where you have large companies coming in from American headquarters who are in some cases earning billions in revenues and or profits, and yet at first glance appear to be paying very low levels of taxes. That certainly raises a number of questions to be answered.
Google's business is sprawling. It's not just about search, it's about so many different areas, mobile and others, and as a result it's better for Google, at least in their view, to have a single entity on the continent.
Google isn't the first big US tech company to build a presence in Europe and then find itself become a target. As this restructure shows, it sees the region as crucial to its future, but also that it can do things better. It might help it deal more quickly and better with some of its critics, but regulators aren't going to go away anytime soon. Ravi Mattu, Financial Times, London.